What if Canada as we know it falls apart? On May 5, 2025, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith gave a fiery 20-minute speech, warning Ottawa that her province won't stand for another decade of what she calls destructive federal policies. With the Liberals back in power under Prime Minister Mark Carney, tensions between Alberta and Ottawa are at a boiling point. Some are even talking about Alberta leaving Canada. Could this lead to a national crisis or worse, a civil war? I'm diving into this unfolding drama on Politically Canadian to uncover what's really happening, what Smith said, and how we can come together as Canadians to face this challenge. Stick around. This story might just change how you see our country's future, eh? Let's start with the spark that lit this fire. On April 28, 2025, Canada held a federal election and Mark Carney led the Liberals to a minority government with 168 seats. Alberta, a conservative stronghold, overwhelmingly voted for the Conservatives, who won all but 3 of the province's 37 ridings. Edmonton Strathcona went to the NDP's Heather McPherson, and Edmonton's Centre to Liberal Eleanor Olszewski. Despite this, the Liberals' win left many Albertans feeling unheard. Premier Danielle Smith didn't hold back. On April 29, she said, "A large majority of Albertans are deeply frustrated that the same government that overtly attacked our provincial economy has been returned to power. This frustration isn't new. Alberta's long felt sidelined by Ottawa, especially on energy policies. But Carney's victory, combined with U.S. trade tensions, has pushed things to a new level." Why is Alberta so upset? It's about more than just politics. It's about survival. Alberta's oil and gas sector is a powerhouse, making up 25% of Canada's exports. But for years, the province has felt targeted by federal policies like emissions caps and pipeline restrictions, which Smith calls anti-energy. Add to that the U.S. trade war. President Trump's 25% tariffs on Canadian goods, announced in January, and his 51st state rhetoric have hit Alberta hard. The province contributes more to federal taxes than it gets back, $17.8 billion more in 2023, according to the Finances of the Nation project. Many Albertans feel they're propping up Canada while Ottawa ties their hands. Polls reflect this tension. An Angus Reid survey from early April showed 30% of Albertans would favor separation if the Liberals won. That's a loud minority, and it's growing louder. On May 5, 2025, just yesterday, Danielle Smith addressed Albertans in a nearly 20-minute speech, laying out her plan to confront Ottawa. She didn't mince words. Smith accused the Liberal government of costing Alberta over $500 billion in lost investment over the past decade, saying, "Albertans will not stand idle while Ottawa continues to block our resources, decimate our economy, and violate our constitutional rights." She announced the creation of an Alberta Next panel, which she'll chair, to hold town halls and gather ideas on how to protect the province from federal policies. Smith said these ideas could lead to a provincial referendum in 2026 on popular proposals. But here's the kicker. She also lowered the threshold for citizen-led referendums, making it easier for Albertans to push for a vote on separation. Now, only 177,000 signatures, 10% of eligible voters, are needed to trigger one. Is this a step toward unity or a step toward breaking Canada apart? This isn't just talk. Separatism is gaining ground. On May 3rd, hundreds rallied at the Alberta legislature, demanding the province secede from Canada, fueled by the Liberal win. Take Back Alberta, a grassroots group, collected over 80,000 signatures in just 36 hours for a sovereignty referendum, aiming for 200,000 by the end of that week. Dennis Modry of the Alberta Prosperity Project told CBC he hopes to trigger a referendum this summer, possibly alongside fall municipal elections. But not everyone's on board. Smith herself has been clear. "I do not support Alberta separating from Canada," she said in her speech. Yet she added, "If there's a successful citizen-led petition requesting such a question, our government will respect the democratic process and include that question on the 2026 referendum ballot." This has sparked debate. Some see it as empowering Albertans, others as flirting with division. The stakes are even higher when we consider Indigenous voices. First Nations leaders from Treaty 6, 7, and 8 territories have pushed back hard against separatism talk. Assembly of First Nations National Chief Cindy Woodhouse, Nepinak, said, "If they're not happy living in this country, anybody who wants to separate, the Premier included, can gladly go live in any other country, but they will not be taking any treaty or inherent lands away with them." Carney Nation Chief Troy Knowlton echoed this, stating Alberta has no authority to interfere with treaties. This isn't just about Alberta and Ottawa. It's about the foundational agreements that hold Canada together. Ignoring these voices risks deepening the divide, not just between provinces, but within our shared history. What about Ottawa's side? Mark Carney has signaled a willingness to work with Alberta. In his victory speech on April 29, and he said, "No matter how you voted, I will always do my best to represent everyone who calls Canada home." He's promised to expedite resource project approvals and strengthen Canada's industrial economy, key concerns for Alberta. After meeting Smith, Carney wrote on social media that their first conversation was promising. But Smith isn't convinced. In her May 5th speech, she said, "Albertans are more of an actions speak louder than words kind of people." She's forming a negotiation team to push Ottawa to repeal laws like the oil and gas emissions cap and the Northern BC oil tanker ban, and to reform equalization payments. If Carney doesn't deliver, Smith warns, the status quo won't hold. Could this be a chance for unity, or are we headed for a showdown? This isn't just Alberta's story, it's Canada's story. Posts online show Albertans feeling betrayed, but also Canadians from other provinces calling for unity. In Quebec, where sovereignty debates have historical roots, the 1995 referendum lost by just about 54,000 votes. A reminder of how close we've come to division before. Alberta NDP leader Naheed Nenshi warned that separatism talk could spook investors and harm the economy, saying, "Danielle Smith coddles people who want to tear our nation apart." Meanwhile, experts like Brendan Boyd from MacEwan University note that Canada's political scene has unified against Trump's tariffs, making Smith's defiance stand out. The question is, can we bridge this gap? As Canadians, we've faced challenges before. Economic crises, political divides, even threats from south of the border. What makes us strong is our ability to come together. Here's where Politically Canadian comes in. I believe we can ease the tension and find a path forward. Alberta's frustration is real. Decades of feeling overlooked can't be ignored. But separation isn't the answer. We're stronger together, from the oil fields of Alberta to the ports of Nova Scotia. Smith's Alberta Next panel could be a chance to listen, not divide, if it focuses on solutions like fairer resource policies and economic corridors to new markets, as Carney has suggested. Let's channel this energy into building a Canada that works for everyone. Imagine a future where Alberta's resources power our economy, where Ottawa listens, and where we face global challenges as a united front. That's the Canada I believe in, and I know you do too. The tension between Alberta and Ottawa isn't going away overnight, but it doesn't have to tear us apart. Danielle Smith's speech was a wake-up call, a reminder that we need to listen to each other no matter how we voted. As Canadians, we've overcome division before, and we can do it again. What do you think? Can we find a way to unite, or are we on the brink of a crisis? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from all of you, whether you're in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Quebec, or anywhere else in this beautiful country. If this video gave you hope for Canada's future, give it a like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more stories on Politically Canadian. Let's keep dreaming big together, eh? See you next time.